This is a special episode.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Starfleet Academy Season 1. I did just kind of go look up to see what the Star Trek news is, if there's any Star Trek news. There's not like a lot though right now, but we figured we should talk about it a little bit just because it's it's not very often we get to talk about like what's going on like the day before the episode.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, as this will actually be somewhat timely instead of 2 months out of date.
There's the Star Trek cruise is going on right now. During a panel on there, Marina Sirtis said that Star Trek Legacy will never happen because most of the leads would be 70 years old or older.
Okay, is that which I don't even remember which one with that is.
Star Trek Legacy is the show that they were setting up that was
at the end of Picard.
Off of Picard.
Okay,
which is interesting because it's like I don't really know that I hadn't really pictured Star Trek Legacy as starring in like the entirety of the TNG.
Right, it was supposed to be like Jack Crusher and Geordi's daughter, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and like I feel like the old person was going to be like Jerry Ryan or something.
Sure, which I'm okay with.
They should just make a
she's
7 show. That's what they should do.
Yeah.
Star Trek 7. But that's going on. Season 2 of Starfleet Academy was renewed a while ago, so they just wrapped Season 2 of it shooting. I don't know whether Season 3 is going to happen. I kind of don't think it's going to get renewed. That's my. Although apparently it does end on a cliffhanger, according to people who have said
the second season does.
The second season does, because the first season doesn't really.
Yeah, no. I mean, the first season kind of has the wrap up. That's sort of the and now we're ready to start. Come back for.
It has the wrap of the first.
We all belong here now. Yeah.
The first 3 Daniel Craig James Bond movies.
Sure.
Have you ever thought about that?
That they kind of all finish with just and now he becomes James Bond.
Right. It's all about all right, now you can do a regular mission, and then. Yeah. And then the other movies are about you're too old to do regular missions.
Right. Because of that. Right.
So let's see. Strange New Worlds still are coming. Looks like they have cast. Oh, this is interesting. I didn't know this. They have cast Sulu and Bones for the.
Oh, interesting. So they really are just planning to wrap it up with it turning into the original series. Okay.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll just end up getting Cage in it, at the end. But somebody named Kai Murakami, who I don't think I know who that is, and Tom Jane, if you know who Thomas Jane is.
Sure.
He's going to be.
Tom Jane of I Just Want My Kids Back fame.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen him in many things, but he will always be. I Just Want My Kids Back.
Sure.
I'm gonna look up a picture of Kai Murakami to see if I know him from anything. Oh no, he's mostly a video game guy. He's never been in a show before.
Okay. Wow.
So
it's like a voice guy.
He's gonna be Sulu. The Strange New Worlds team has formally pitched to Paramount an idea for a continuation series called Star Trek Year One, which would be a recreation of the early days of the original Star Trek that would bridge the gap between Strange New Worlds and classic Trek. That doesn't sound very good, honestly.
No, why? Again, why would? I mean, I know why, and the answer is money, but also just let us go watch the first season of Star Trek because it's really good.
Yeah. And then, there are several different Star Trek movies that will probably all never happen. There's the one that the Dungeons and Dragons guys, I think that one is still in development.
Okay.
That could be good. I like that movie. Game Night.
I enjoyed that one, yeah.
Movies. Have you seen Game Night?
I haven't seen Game Night, no.
Game Night, one of my favorite movies of the last decade, probably. So
nice.
They've made some bad movies too, but Then in 2024, there was like a Star Trek prequel movie that was like an origin story for Starfleet. But it sounds like that's been kind of not really a lot going on with that. Patrick Stewart said that there was a Picard movie, but that no one's talked about that in a few years.
I'm sure Patrick Stewart would love for that to be the case.
Yeah, and then there was a Star Trek Discovery writer that like 5 years ago was supposed to write a movie. So, and then of course, then there's like, I think basically everyone is like, there's not going to be any more of the Chris Pine ones, and I think Tarantino has also moved on from.
Okay.
Tarantino. I was just talking to my wife about this the other day. Tarantino, like, he's like a very talented person, but like also like kind of a stupid idiot, like who
sure.
just kind of like shoots his mouth off of a bunch of stupid stuff. And for many years he's been like, I'm only going to make 10 movies or whatever, because like nobody makes good movies like when they get old.
Right, which is something that you say when you haven't made 10 movies yet and you're young.
And
right.
So, but he doesn't want to be seen as like going back on it though, and so he's just been doing all of this stuff where because he hasn't made a movie in like 7 years now, and because he has one more movie left, in his self-imposed deadline, and so he just keeps doing all these other things where he's like, I'm going to write a play, I want to write a screenplay I'm going to write like a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood book, I'm going to write the screenplay for the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sequel, but David Fincher's going to direct it. Where it's just sort of like he's like,
right.
I want to keep on working, but I don't want to like go back on this dumb thing I said, and so I'm going to
sure.
like, and so I feel like he's also doing stuff like the Star Trek thing where he's just sort of like, maybe I'll do that, maybe I'll do that, maybe I'll do that, but what do I want my last movie to be,
yeah.
But anyway, so so that's what's going on. I don't know. I don't think we have any other premiere dates that have been announced or anything. It's not. I mean, there's only 2 like active shows. So
yeah.
But anyway, I forgot to get my kazoo out. Where's my kazoo? Okay, I got it.
We should just make that.
Yeah, that's how I'm gonna do it. I'm doing that right now. Hi everybody, welcome to Out of Contreks, a show where 2 guys who have seen part of Star Trek try to watch all of it, usually in no particular order. I'm Ryan Howard.
And I'm Brady Jungle.
And today we're talking about Starfleet Academy, the first season of the newest Paramount Plus, and maybe the last Paramount Plus Star Trek show. We'll see. It is kind of a show that I think people have like talked about making a Starfleet Academy show for like years and years and years and years. I think a lot of times it hasn't really gone because people have been like, won't that be like kind of boring? And then they made the show and it's like kind of boring. But I don't know. I think we've talked about it some. I think you and I are both kind of like, it's kind of roughly in the middle of the new Trek era.
Yes, I would put it pretty solidly in the middle. I thought it was like, so I think I'm going to have a lot of kind of specific negative things to say about it, but I think overall, like, it was fine. I was never like having a bad time watching it, I feel like.
Oh, I don't agree with you that I was never having a bad time. I was often having a time. I was often just having a very dull time, I will say.
Sometimes, yeah.
I
think it definitely, like, more than some other shows, like, it definitely like had a thing it was trying to do, and like the more it actually did try to do that thing, I think the more it worked. And then sometimes they would get confused about what they were trying to do. But yeah, and I thought I enjoyed the characters. I thought they were like all kind of interesting and like you could sort of understand what everybody's deal was. And they kind of focused more on the characters than on, I think it was, I had fun watching it.
You definitely liked the show. Yeah, you definitely liked it more than I did, which is great. I'm not saying you're wrong to feel that way or anything like that. I I think there's some good stuff in it for sure, but I felt very kind of like it felt very like flat to me, where it's like honestly, you texted me last night kind of jokingly because after we were done recording this, we were covering a Voyager episode and a Discovery episode, and you were like, "Oh man, maybe watching a Discovery episode right before we do this will like help us appreciate the show more." And I would say, honestly, kind of the opposite. I definitely like this show more than Discovery, but like that's not even a very great episode of Discovery that we watched or anything. But I was kind of like, well, they like went to space and they like did a mission and they had to like solve a problem, and like, and I was sort of like, oh, I kind of, I was like, I would have enjoyed more of that because the show honestly reminded me very much of Enterprise, the Star Trek Enterprise. And I would feel like they would be like, all right, it's time to do... Enterprise was more like, it's time to do a classic Star Trek episode type setup.
Sure.
And I feel like this...
now we'll do a board one.
Like, right, and it's like... And this show, it was kind of like, all right, it's time to do a classic school thing, but it's in space, or just like a classic like episode conceit, but it's... and then
see, I think that's the thing, is that's what I was kind of going in on board for that show. Like I was like, if you want to do a like Saved by the Bell in space, like I'm on board, I'm fine with this. And I felt like they never committed hard enough to that to make it, because that could be fun
in the first half of the season.
Yes. And then they're like, well,
the first half of the season is better.
Yes, and like those were the ones I enjoyed, were the ones where it is just like, right, like it is just like, oh, it's spring break and two of the characters are locked in the school and like let an animal out of the science lab and have to chase it around and there's hijinks and like that kind of thing. Like that's the show I was like coming in sort of like bought in for. And I feel like when they did that, it was fun. And then, but even that, I guess, like they would sometimes kind of promise that. And then like the laser tag episode was just like,
yes, there's
the promise is like, it's a prank war. Isn't that going to be fun? And then there were like 3 kind of lame pranks over the course of the whole episode. And you're just like, well, I feel like you promised something much more than you delivered on that.
Yeah. A lot of the episodes are kind of like, it's like, it felt like they were like stalling for time.
Sure.
Where like it's like that old South Park joke about like step 1, step 2, step 3, question mark, profit.
Right.
Like
profit.
where it's like it's like that I remember the prank war one in particular just being like, okay, they're like, all right, there's a prank war, and I'm like, that's a fun idea. And then it's just then it's like, all right, now we have like 30 minutes of the 2 lead romantic couple like kind of having like a boring relationship drama. And then at the end, they're like, "Oh, we put some plants in a place," and it's it's like, okay, but like you could have like do the prank thing the whole time, like, and it's one of those things where it's like, I know that like Discovery, for example, like has its fans, but like, I'm watching like the romance in this, and I'm just like, is there anybody on Earth, on the planet Earth, who cares about this? Sure. Like there's stuff in it where I'm like, well, that's not for me, but like I get why someone would like it. Like for example, I'm not a huge fan of the Sam character, but I'm like, that's obviously like somebody's vibe, right? Like somebody that's like really into this person. They're probably like, oh, she's like kind of doing like a little bit of a thing about like spectrum-y people, maybe, or like, or just like, I like the way that she like kind of views the world or whatever. And it's like, not my thing, but I could see someone liking it. But then I was just like, you just have this kind of like tortured relationship between like this like between Caleb and what's the other person's name?
This is another thing, is I like half the characters on this show, I got to the end of the show and I'm like, I don't actually know. Like, half these people. I know half of them. I know that there's a Klingon named Jaden. And
well, because he's the best character of the kids anyway. I mean, it does.
Because it does also suffer from the. I think what's not an uncommon thing for shows like this, where like the sort of person who's supposed to be the cool lead is the least interesting character. And it's not as bad as some other shows. Like, Caleb's not bad, but he's definitely not as interesting as anybody else.
Yeah, I was talking to friend of the show, Mark Rustad, who actually gave up on the show after like a couple of episodes, and it was just kind of like, I think I've hit my limit on like not very good Star Trek. And he basically was like, this main character has like doll syndrome, like a Dal syndrome, and I was like, yeah. I don't think he's nearly as bad as Dal.
Which, to be fair, like, when we saw Prodigy, we said Dahl had Ezra Bridger syndrome. So
yes.
It's not a unique thing to this, but I think he's nowhere near as bad. But
Caleb is better than both Ezra Bridger and Dal, but like...
Yes, but I'd much rather see any of the other kids.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't really like... I don't really like Sam or Darum very much either. Darum's the
is that the Dave
like,
Franco one?
Oh, sure. I didn't think about that, but yes.
He doesn't really look like him, but like for some reason he triggered something in my brain. Like whenever I looked at him, I was just like, "Oh, it's Dave Franco."
Yeah.
Which I don't know why, but that's what he looks like to me.
Let's talk. So you tell me what's like the plot of the show? Like let's go over it like kind of an overview.
Sure. So the main through line of the show is this kid named Caleb, who, like, when he was a little kid, he and his mom were, kind of like on the streets, like just trying to survive, and his mom got, did a job with this criminal, like, crime boss, Paul Giamatti. I don't know that character's name either. He's just Paul Giamatti. And then they got caught, and she got, like, put in jail by the Federation. And so, like, he got separated from his mom. And so now he sort of grew up on his own, kind of is spending his whole life trying to find his mom. And then is, like, about to get sent to jail and gets offered by Holly Hunter, who is the new, like, chancellor. She was the one who initially, like, sentenced his mom to jail and separated them, and now she feels really guilty about that, and so she offers him a spot in Starfleet Academy, and she's like, if you join Starfleet Academy, like, I'll keep helping you look for your mom, but also, like, you have the chance to kind of turn and make something of your life and all that. And then, so he meets kind of his sort of like group of friends is, and so then kind of the through line of the show that then kind of picks up, it's one of those things like is mentioned in every now and then, but the rest of the episodes are just kind of like school hijinks, and then it wraps up kind of, there's one episode in the middle and then a couple at the end that kind of follow this plot line of he's trying to find his mom, and the sort of big bad is Paul Giamatti, who has this kind of plan to bring down the Federation, and they stop him.
Sure. Which I maybe lost the thread a little bit by the time that
I have a lot to say about the ending.
I was just like, kind of, what's his deal? Like, do I care? Like,
Yeah, I think I have the most to say about like the last episode, and kind of that it sort of is the worst example of kind of, I think, one of my biggest problems with the show sometimes. But yeah, and so then he has his like group of friends, which is Jaden, who is like a Klingon that wants to be a doctor.
To be clear, his name is Jaden.
It's
Jay-hyphen-D-E-N. But his name is
which
Jaden,
is the kind of thing. Yeah,
it's a very weird thing because it's like it's obviously a joke.
Yes, it should be like it's a joke that they've done in Lower Decks. With like,
well, it's funny because it's like I'm not even complaining about it. I actually think it's pretty funny that they don't like ever like be like Jaden or so, like
right.
But it's like it's very strange because it's like,
yes, it's never played as a joke.
Yeah,
it's just like this is just his name, but his name is Jaden.
He's the best of I think easily the best of the younger characters.
Yes,
I think like kind of like by a factor of like 10. Like the actor is Kareem Diane. I'm not sure how to say that last name, but
yes, he does a great job.
Yeah, his character is like kind of the most more. It's like it's a good performance. I think his character also is probably the most like interest of any of them, where he's like a Klingon who wants to be a doctor, and his dad is basically like being a doctor is for wusses, you know.
Yeah, yeah. He's got stuff going on. I think his episode is like good up until the very end, which I thought was dumb, but we can get to that specifically.
Another like perfect example of them being like, we have an idea. All right, well, do we have an episode? No, like, you know, like
sure.
we don't have an episode. Like, we have an idea. Like we can put the idea at the end of the episode, and then we can just kind of figure out what to do in the middle. You know, it's like I think the end of that episode is actually like interesting, except that like they just kind of like do it rather than explain it. Like, they spend all their time explaining other stuff. But
that episode I also have stuff to say about. And then, but he's clearly the best. And then, especially like near the end, he's just kind of not around for big chunks of time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that, but there's like, they sort of keep finding excuses for it's just like, and then everyone except Jaden like goes down to the planet, or like he's just kind of off doing something else for a while. Like, I don't know if Kareem DNA had like other projects or like wasn't available sometimes, but yeah, there's sort of times where it's all of the rest of them and not him, and I'm just like, well, why don't you have the one I want to see?
You just pronounced his name Kareem DNA, and
I did say DNA.
I hope that is how you say his name. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Kareem
Anyways,
DNA.
Yes, and then there's Genesis, who is probably like, I would say, the second best.
Yes,
of the kids.
I was gonna.
I think she's really good too.
Yes, she's also, she's clearly the second best. I think I like that performance.
Yeah, I think she does a great job.
Her character is very standard, but like she does a good job with it, though.
Yes, it's a very kind of tropey. Like, her dad is like a Starfleet admiral, and so she's kind of like trying to prove herself, and like has all these like pressure and expectations and imposter syndrome and all of that, and like has to be a captain because that's what everyone expects of her. But she's very good, and like has a real good dynamic with all the other people that she like shares the screen with, and that. And then Sam, who is a hologram from like a world of holograms that's been like sent here to like learn about humans, but for reasons is like been programmed to act like a 17-year-old who is acting like a child. Yeah, and kind of goes through this whole thing of like learning to become human and that kind of thing.
I told Mark, I didn't tell him about, well, I mean, we'll talk about it in this episode, but I told Mark about like the not about like her plot, but about like that I was like, there's a scene suddenly in the show where like suddenly the doctor is like, I had a family, and I was like, I guess you did have a family. Like that episode,
that was such a wild choice to me in that episode. Again, we'll get to that. That one I think was one of the ones that made me the most angry. Of just like, this is what you guys decided to go with.
I think you did, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess you did. I remember that. I I've seen that episode twice, I think, and
sure.
Sure, it's not like a bad episode, I guess. It's interesting that that you would bring it up, considering that that happened relatively early on, I think, in the show, and then like it's never been discussed ever again.
That they're just like, this stayed with me for hundreds of years. It's just like, you never mentioned it before.
It's like I'll never. It's like I'll never. It's weird because it's like they're like, I'll never love again or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you were gonna do this, I actually could see you doing this, but why don't you do it where you're like, because like I had a bunch of friends on a ship called Voyager.
See, that was my thing with it. That was right there, right? Like you already have this built into the character of just like, he's spent his whole life just watching his friends grow old and die. And like you can even like have him do some lines where he like calls out like, like Kess left, and then like I lost 7 of 9, and like, Tuvok eventually, and my best friend Janeway, and even like I'm sorry to admit, like in his own way, Mr. Paris, right? Like you could have him play all that out, like, and it's just like, no, it's because of that one episode of Voyager where he made like a little sitcom family for himself.
Yeah,
that was such a wild choice.
It's very strange.
Because they also, in that same episode, they mentioned the time where he like goes down to a planet and like has like actual children.
Right, which an episode that is like much better, I think, and like and like has, and I think has way more of like an impact. Like I think that's an episode of Star Trek that I feel like people remember that episode a lot better. Maybe
yes, I think that's one that like if people were like, what are like kind of notable episodes from Voyager, I feel like that would be one of them. Is like it's an interesting sci-fi premise, and like the Doctor's really good, and like you have this kind of thing with him and that. That was a wild choice to me.
Yeah, that character I find like kind of annoying. I can
definitely see how she's definitely like either she's your flavor or not, because she's this very kind of bubbly, like sort of like innocent, but like
very naive.
Like eyes wide open, like taking in the world and everything.
Doesn't really understand like social interaction.
Yeah, and they kind of try to do a bit of an arc with her, because like after that episode, she's like, oh, like now I've sort of like grown up normally and matured, and so she's kind of got a little bit more, like she's a little more grounded in like the last few episodes after that.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then I forget. Oh, and then whatever his name is, the guy that's like the prince.
Durham Raimi. The James Franco guy. Who,
yes.
He's a. We haven't said actually who these people. So you said she's a hologram, and then Jaden is a Klingon. So Genesis is a. Did
they ever say what she is?
Darsha, which I think is a new.
Okay.
That's a new species. But like, they don't really. There's nothing really. We don't know like what their deal is. It's just sort of. Yeah,
she's just kind of got like.
According to
eyebrows.
According to looks like an interview with somebody who worked on the show. It says, you know how we did the Darsha? When we decided they were nomadic, our amazing prosthetics department was like, so what do you want them to look like? And we were like, we want them to look like gorgeous aliens that woke up at Burning Man. And that was their design. So just like they just kind of have some like lines on their face.
It's like, basically like
anything about
it's like she basically like instead of makeup, she has like her makeup is 3-dimensional is kind of what it looks like.
Yeah.
But
they look fine,
I mean, it's a good look. Yeah, it's like it's very understated and like she looks cool. Yes, and then Raimi is Kyonian.
He's a Kyonian, right? Yeah, which I think is another new. Isn't it new or not?
Probably. I can't imagine that they had someone vomiting glitter in a different episode of Star Trek.
That stuff, man. I just like, come on, like there is some stuff on this where there is some like real how are you fellow kids
sure
stuff in it. I forgot even that he does that. That he can't. So he's like he looks like a human, and then like he can basically like turn into like a really like a very like a really kind of resistant skin, basically. That looks like garbage. I will say. Anytime that he had to turn into, I thought anyway. I don't know how you felt about it, but anytime.
It wasn't great. I think did he do it anytime other than that first episode?
I think he does it twice. I could be wrong, but yeah, it's not good looking. So he is just kind of like his thing is that he's like sort of a dick, and then
he's kind of like
there's like one episode where he's like going to get married, and then someone's like, "Oh, you actually are kind of nice inside," and then he's like, "Oh, okay," and then he's just a dick for the rest of the show again.
But does have the like he's like kind of has like moments where he's like supportive of his he like comes around to like his friends, and like particularly like Jaden and him are like good friends. So
he's kind of like a tool, and so he's sort of like clashes with Caleb, who is
right,
also
who's
kind of a tool.
even more of a tool.
No, I don't agree with that. I think because I'll tell you about we'll get to the Caleb in a second. Caleb I don't like very much, but I definitely prefer him to.
Okay, fair enough.
Durham because I think Caleb has one thing about him that is, I think, very relatable, or like the thing that where it's like I kind of wish they had leaned into it more, on the show. But and then the last student that is like one of the main cast. I guess the student's brother is also in it, but he's not. He's not a main cast member
almost
though.
Sometimes around, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a Betazoid, but she's like a really powerful Betazoid who
even more psychic than other Betazoids.
Well, her like pituitary gland or something is like screwed up, and so she has to like wear like an inhibitor so she's not too psychic.
Right.
And her name is Tarima Sadal.
Tarima, yeah.
And I found her so boring.
Yeah, she really is. She was the one that was like not.
Well, and I think that is like one of the big flaws of the show is that she is
she's like the love interest for Caleb.
The love interest,
yeah,
right. And so it's like, and they're kind of like sort of half-heartedly trying to set up like a love triangle where it's like, well, there's, he wants to be with her, but then also there's Genesis, but like they're kind of like, we don't want to have too much drama where it's like Genesis like is being very respectful and not like actually they're not actually romantically involved at all. But also I was kind of like I wish they would be because like those two
I like her better.
Yeah, she's way better and more interesting, and I find Tarima to be like just completely a snooze. Like that's I think that maybe one of my biggest complaints about the show is just that like they spend so much time on this like romantic relationship between Tarima and Caleb, and I'm like, this is boring. Like it's just not a very compelling romance like at all, and it's like very it's like it's also it's like classic new Star Trek stuff of like, well, what is their relationship drama? Well, it's like, it's trauma based. It's like they're both sort of like, I have to figure out some stuff, and you might get too close or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, honk shoe, get me out of here. But and I don't think that actor. Whatever. I don't want to say that she's a bad actor, but just like that character is like also so like kind of like sedate and stuff too, where I'm just not really compelled by this person at all. And then she's unfortunately like very important to the plot of the show. But then we have some adult characters, I would say all of who basically are better than like all of the kids except for maybe Jaden,
Sure.
So who are because
adults? Like I forget what's her title, the captain, like the sort of leader of the she's the dean of students, college. But she is she's a captain, and then the captain of because like Starfleet Academy is like also sometimes a ship, like it lands in San Francisco.
The ship is cool looking,
and then like they can like take the whole academy up as a ship and like go on missions. Yeah,
I think the ship looks cool. What do you think of it?
I agree. It's a neat design because it's
called
like
the Athena.
And like what is normally like the nacelles is like wings. Yeah,
it looks like a comm badge kind of.
Yeah, it is a cool design for sure. But and she's played by Holly Hunter, and
of course my wife did look at it and she was like, so that's different than like the other ones, that's her new bit now. It's just anytime she sees a Star Trek ship.
Oh, it's Discovery.
Yeah. But she's the captain. Yeah.
Yes, and then
I love Holly Hunter. She's a great actor. So
yeah, she brings like a very like nails kind of the energy of this character where she's also like she's whatever Carol Kane was in Strange New Worlds.
Oh, like, she's half human, half lanthanite.
Yeah, so she like has lived for a very long time. Like hundreds of years or something because of that.
Long enough to have regrets.
Yeah, sure. And then the Doctor is there from Voyager, played by Robert Picardo, who I don't know. He was the one that I just anytime like he would he would like be there. I would just be like, I miss when you were young. Like,
well, I think I don't know.
Like, it's not that he's bad. He's doing a great job, but it's just like the Doctor on Voyager was such a like iconic performance that it's just like
he probably also misses when he was.
I mean, yes, I'm sure he does. Like, but yeah, I think he does a good job. He still is.
Yeah,
Robert Picardo's great.
Yeah, I think he like is one of the people who probably it suffers the most from the dialogue not being.
Yeah, he's not given a lot of
good. Because it's like obviously we know he can like do that stuff. He can do good dialogue scenes if he's provided with them, but like, yeah, they just don't like it's some of the other actors I think can like deliver some of like the dumb kind of millennial speak.
Sure.
That like they give them like it's like you know anything that like Tig Notaro says like sounds kind of cool, you know.
Right. Because
and like Picardo needs like that kind of really kind of melodramatic timbre that like that they give him, I think even on Prodigy, you know, like I think
that's true. I think he is still kind of like getting to be like
getting his voice right, you know.
Yes, and then Tig Notaro is Jett Reno from Discovery, who's just kind of like here teaching various classes whenever we need another teacher.
Well, she's in a relationship with one of the other teachers, which I kind of liked.
Yeah, I thought that was nice to show. What's her name? Lura Thok is her character's name. Who is she's half Klingon, half Jem'Hadar, and she's like she's essentially like the drill sergeant of the Starfleet Academy. But I think she's great.
And I was not sure about her at first because like it's a very weird affect, and like she is actually not on the show like that much. But
that's true. She does kind of just go away halfway through.
I ultimately liked her though. Like one
second, is she in any of like the second half? I'm trying to
not
think
very
now.
much.
Yeah, that's weird.
Because I think she's in like the finale or something, and I was like, oh yeah, her weird voice. I forgot that she was like on the show for a while.
Oh yeah.
But I wasn't really sure about her affect at first, but then I think, you know, she is from a long tradition of, like, a thing I really like about a lot of Star Trek shows, which is, like, them being like, all right, well, we have taken, like, a species that was, like, formerly an antagonistic species, and now we're putting them into, like, their protagonists, you know, which, and I think it's a really, legitimately, like, a very cool thing about Star Trek is it's like sort of being like none of this stuff is insurmountable, you know what I mean? Like it's
right.
it's like we can always figure out how to like come to peace with this group that we once thought was, you know, it was untenable or whatever. So I thought that was kind of cool. And
then there's like kind of the main antagonist who's Paul Giamatti, who's again kind of like
Jett Reno is on it, and then technically actually if I'm looking at the main cast list on Memory Alpha right now, and Oded Fair isn't technically a main cast member, returning from
he kind of
returning from Discovery, which I'm always happy to see.
He's in some episodes, but I
just like him a lot. He's really good. And then Stephen Colbert plays the like announcer.
Sure.
Of the he's the dean of students.
He's just like the announcer voice. Yeah.
So he just then I guess also
starts every scene with a joke of, like over the PA. Yeah.
the Britt Marling plays
he
computer voice.
He is the one that mentions, I think, the galactic meteor shower, which really annoyed me.
Yeah. Then apparently also a main cast member is Britt Marling, who plays the voice of the Athena, which I was like, that's an odd.
Oh, okay.
That's an odd choice for a main cast member, but sure.
Sure.
Yeah, because then there's other people who are like on some.
Oh,
episodes,
interesting.
Like,
So like the mom isn't considered a main cast member then.
No, because it's like with recurring characters. It has like the shift operations guy. It's got the war call, like kind of the Slytherin headmaster guy.
Oh, sure. Yeah. He did a good job, I thought. Like the few episodes that were kind of about him, I was just like,
yeah,
he did something with this character.
I think that's. We'll get into that in a second. There's a couple things that I know you're not really supposed to like. You're supposed to review the show you have, not the show you would make. But like, there's a couple things where I was like, man, I would have done this a little differently. Like.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm looking at. Oh yeah.
There's sort of some like bridge crew on the ship that's sometimes around. There's the rival school kids. Yeah,
because Caleb's mom is played by Tatiana Maslany, so she's she's in a few episodes, and then say what you were going to say about Giamatti, who is a recurring character. He's not a.
Yes, because he, I guess, also is kind of same as like, he's in like the first episode, and then there's kind of one episode in the middle where they're like, and kind of further that whole plot where like he kind of does some machinations to get like to trick them so that he can steal, like attack a Federation base and steal like a weapon, and then kind of goes away for a while.
I think that episode is kind of disastrous to the arc of the show, but we can talk about it.
I agree. I felt like even when it was happening, I was just like, wait, why are we doing this now? Like we were just getting. It's kind of because it's right when we were getting into the groove of. You kind of feel like you know what the show is.
Stuff? Yeah.
It's just like, okay, we're like doing school stuff, and we're doing kind of like each of the kids is sort of getting like their own episode. And then suddenly we're like, and now there's this big dramatic like thing where like people die and nothing will ever be the same. But it's at the halfway point of the season, and so then it's just like, well, then they sort of try to like go back to school stuff after that, and then they go like into the sort of like big finale where you're going back to the stuff with him. I didn't feel like I agree. I think it kind of like sort of derailed like what the show could have been at that point. But
I think it really we're almost there to get into like the actual what happens in the show.
Keep moving, but
so, and we've already been talking for like 45 minutes, but
I know.
So he's the antagonist because he was kind of the person who kind of recruited Caleb's mom to like and so
like he's also like for kind of some unclear reason like he's really interested in Caleb, like specifically trying to like track down Caleb, and like has this kind of personal vendetta against Holly Hunter. And then, at the end is like, and now I'm going to bring down the whole Federation and make you all watch. And then they stop him.
So, and like, I will say, it was pretty late at night when I was watching that final episode. And also, I may have, not a thing I usually do, but because I had to watch 3 episodes and I was like very late at night and I was by myself, I was like, maybe I'll get high and watch it.
Sure.
But I was paying attention. So it's like, I was very confused by when he kind of reveals like why he hates the Federation so much. And is like, is it because he thought that they like murdered a bunch of people on his planet, or was that his cover reason as to why? I didn't really understand that.
I think they really kind of muddle this a lot, because I think it's both. like I think he actually thought they did, but then also like when they prove they didn't, he's just like, well, I don't care because like I also just
because I'm evil.
Am evil and like greedy and right like want to be like a crime lord and rule the galaxy and all this stuff. And then and then I will say like the whole ending. I don't know. Do we want to just talk about? I guess let's come to the ending in a bit.
Let's go. Yeah. Let's talk about other stuff first.
Yeah.
So
I think I don't know. Like some of these we can just kind of breeze over because the first episode is just kind of setting everybody up, and then like Paul Giamatti attacks the ship, and they all have to like work together to drive him off.
Yeah.
Then
that's where you find out that Darum is a Kyonian instead of like human or whatever.
Right. And then like the second one is basically he meets the love interest.
Yeah,
that's kind of what that whole one episode's about. Then there's the prank war one where there's just like now we all have to like learn to work together. That
episode is okay. Like I would say that episode.
Yeah, I think that's
I do like the idea of the prank war. It's like I kind of like I like.
Yeah, I think it's exactly what. Yeah.
It's again. It's like it's sort of as I was saying before. It's the problem with it is that it's sort of like kind of the very basic version of what that would be like. And there's a lot of stuff about like Caleb and the love interest who.
Yes, because she goes to the rival school, the war college, and and then there's is the next one the Jaden episode?
No, I don't think so.
No.
The next one is oh no, it is.
Yeah, that one is. Yeah,
that episode's okay. I mean, so that one.
I think. Yeah, I think this was the first one where I was like, it was a thing that happened in a few other episodes, like that one, and I think this was the problem I had with the one where like the doctor goes to Sam's home planet, of just the like, they kind of like they are sort of doing a like emotional arc and like trying to like and like kind of almost pull it off where like they're trying to make you feel something at the end, but the just actual like writing and like the story they come up with doesn't actually work for it if you think about it. Because I think the Jaden stuff is good, and like I really liked the scene with him and the like Jem'Hadar teacher, where basically what happens is like it's kind of his like it's flashbacks to his backstory of like the Klingons are sort of this like Kronos was destroyed, and the Klingons are now this kind of nomadic, like there's just sort of little pockets of them all around, and they're essentially going extinct because of like they're like the Federation's like, let us help you, and they're like, no, we're Klingon, we can't just like accept charity. And because of that, like they're essentially going like the Klingons as a species are like going to die with honor. Which like
there's a very like funny thing that happens in this where somebody basically says Kronos has an inside job, which is very good.
Sure.
I don't know if you like picked up on that. Like
I missed that.
There's a reference to like a conspiracy theory that like I don't know the Klingon High Council or something. Like I think they might actually say like Kronos was an inside job in the show or something like that. So that was funny.
Yeah. But yeah, and then like you know, Jaden is like kind of on this planet with like a little community of Klingons, and he wants to go off to Starfleet Academy to become a doctor, and they're like, no, you need to become a warrior. And like his brother is like supporting him, but then his brother dies, and they want him to like take his brother's place. But there's like basically kind of the climax of that is like his dad gets real angry at him, and he's like, we have to like takes him to go on like this hunt to kill something to become a Klingon warrior. And he can't do it, and then his dad like gets really angry and like tries to like shoot an arrow at the bird and misses. And Jaden's like, I made my dad so angry that he missed and like brought dishonor on himself, and that's why. And then they left, and like I came to Starfleet Academy, and she, the sort of half Klingon, half Jem'Hadar teacher, tells him like, no, like Klingons don't like become worse fighters when they get angry.
Yeah.
Right. And like your dad was actually like essentially like taking dishonor himself like knowingly to be able to free you up to like follow your dreams, and like was, you know, your dad actually like does love you and does want what's best for you. And like I thought that part of it was like very touching. I think the part that didn't work for me was the whole, like the way they solve kind of the Klingon problem is they're just like, oh, well, we want the Klingons to have a home world, but they won't accept one if we give it to them. So what if we like tell them they can't have it and they have to fight us for it? And then we kind of play act this little like, oh no, you beat us and we surrender and now you have your home world. But it's too like,
that's
I think
really
like
interesting because I think you and I had very opposite takes on this episode, but go on. Sorry.
Okay. Because yeah, I feel like that, and then also like his family's alive at the end, and it's just like it felt like too kind of neat and tidy and easy of an ending.
Sure.
With like there wasn't really like there was never any cost paid for any of it, and like I don't really believe that the Klingons would be okay with like this sort of clear play acting of just like, oh no, you beat us, right? Like I feel like they would be even more offended by their enemy like sort of letting them win, you know?
Sure. I think
and like I think there's actually something very like, I don't know, again, like why not? Like I think there is a sort of like this kind of pathos behind like the Klingon race is like gonna go extinct because of their honor and like they're okay
their
with
pride,
that.
yeah.
But either and if you're not going to do that, then yeah, I feel like you have to have some sort of like there has to be some sort of cost for that ending, whether it's like maybe the like now the Klingons actually like are enemies again, and like they're going to get stronger and be a problem in the future, but like we're willing to face that because it's like so important to help them survive. I don't know. Like there had to be, I feel like it was just too kind of neat and tidy of a way to wrap it up for like what seemed like a sort of big thing. I don't know.
I agree that it's too neat, but I would say that like I think that the idea is really good, and I think that like the implication that they're trying to make there basically is that like it's not obvious that it's cap to the Klingon populace as a whole. Like because to me it was sort of like what they were saying was basically.
Okay, yeah.
I felt what they were saying was basically that I felt basically what they were saying was that like because you know they talked to that one Klingon who's like, well, I would totally just take the place, but like my people aren't going to go for it. And to me the implication was like, well, he understands that this is BS, but he's like, well, I can sell.
Like help them,
I can
like,
sell
put
them
on a good show for everybody.
Well, yeah, he's
else.
like, yeah, he's like, I can sell them that this is a real thing that's going on. You know,
okay.
Like, that was my take on it anyway. Yeah, I understand what you're saying though for certain. I think my issue with the other stuff was that I was like, with the emotional stuff is that, like, I thought that stuff was like, I don't know, like I thought the revelation that his dad missed on purpose, I was sort of like, this seems like a stretch to me maybe, but like I liked the other, like the stuff with his brother I thought was like pretty good, but it was like one of those things where I'm just like, there is a lot of stuff in this show where I'm just like the other thing we haven't really talked about is that like I think one of the biggest problems with the show is that like it does not have the confidence of its like convictions to be like good. It's sort of like I have to do a bunch of like kind of like, you know, like the stuff that we keep on doing in all of these new Trek shows where it's like, okay, well, you know, it has to be really epic or whatever, like, you know, like it has to like it like and so like it's like I was just watching, I remember watching the beginning, like when you're seeing like the two guys run through the woods, and I'm just like, why does this movie look like the Tree of Life? You know, like what?
Sure.
Like why does the show like? Why can't it just like look like a show? Like
yeah.
And so like I thought all that stuff was like, it was so over the top and like so kind of like portentous, where it I think it would have probably benefited from being a little bit grittier and more like real and stuff, you know. Mm-hmm. And but like an okay episode. But yeah, I think what I would have wanted is maybe less time on that and like more time on the Klingon, the plan, because I think that's a good idea. But you just I think
the heart of it is really good. Of just like, well, the Klingons have to. Right, like they can't just be given something; they have to win it in battle.
Right,
and so I think that's a good idea. Of like, we have to find a way to have them like declare war on us and take it from us. But it was just like, a little too. I think there was just a little too much like smile and wink, and like the Klingons are in on it too.
Yeah,
that just
which
I found kind of unbelievable. That like I don't think the Klingons would be okay with that.
And that's totally fair. I think I was, I don't know. I was. I think that what they should have done is they just made the whole episode about that. Sure. I think that's a common problem with like all of these shows now is that like it's like just like pick something for the show to be about, you know what I mean, and then like have the show be about that, and don't feel like you have to like go off on these weird little like narrative threads or whatever. Like,
sure.
But
so that's and then we have the episode that I'll just let you kind of go off about for a while, which is the Sisko one.
Okay. Oh man. Okay. This is when I was really getting mad at the show. So, this is what season. This is episode 5. So, because there's the prank war. Sorry, it's after. I think the prank war is after. The Jaden episode, which we already talked about.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then or no, that was before. Whatever.
That was that was Vetus Reflux. Yeah.
So then. There is, and again, it's like one of those things where it's like, so I'm sort of like, I guess I could understand someone being into this and I am not, but it's like, this is like, it takes the form, a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it takes the form of like I don't know what you would say, like a video.
It starts out with like completely like changing the tone of the show, because now it's like, it's Sam like talking to the camera being like, "Hi, I'm Sam. Let me tell you about Starfleet Academy and my life here." And like,
I think isn't like the implication that she's basically making like a video for her.
I guess
people? I don't know. I mean,
I don't think there's really a reason for it other than just like this is just the tone we wanted this episode to have, because it's about like the fun, bubbly character. I don't know.
And it's like she gets really obsessed with Sisko because Sisko was an emissary for the prophets to. It's not really the same thing at all, but he was the emissary for
right.
the
it's the same word.
It's the emissary for the prophets to the Betazoids, and she's like, "Well, I'm an emissary for my planet," but it's like it's not really the same thing at all. Because it's like Sisko is like a totally unwilling emissary who doesn't understand the people that he is like coming from. You know, it's like she would really have more in common with like I don't know Zephyr Cochrane or something or something somebody like that than Sisko. And this is I would say unfortunately this is written by like Tawny Newsome, who I do like a lot and who's in the episode, and who like obviously loves Deep Space Nine, like I think.
Yes, I think intended to like I don't know how much of the Memory Alpha thing about it you read, but it's basically like what they were trying to do is be like, look, no one ever like Deep Space Nine doesn't get like love from the show at least that right like there's a bunch of episodes of other shows that like kind of reference like other shows and no one ever like talks about like Deep Space Nine or Sisko or kind of like followed up on like what he did to the show and that kind of thing. Yeah. Like they wanted to do this kind of like love letter to like Deep Space Nine and to Avery Brooks.
And I appreciate the intention of that. But like, so it's like I don't know. She like goes out and like gets drunk or whatever, and then like she basically like it gets interested in Sisko, and then they're like, well. Whatever happened, they're like no one ever figured out what happened with him, and she's like, well, I'll be able to figure it out, and then basically like she kind of does figure it out, which is like I was kind of annoyed by it. It's like you figured this out in like I don't know, like a week or something when it's like been a mystery
right. You
for
just
like
I just found
years.
a copy of Jake's book and he explained.
But right,
it.
it's like what happened to him? Well, like nothing. Like is kind of like what actually did happen to him? You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
it's like he just kind of
I
like
think
went up
kind of
into,
like they end up with just like, well, he's like alive in our hearts.
yeah, and it's like, well, that's not. Well, then why did we do this? Like, then you know what I mean? It's
Sure.
like it's like what was the point of any of it? And then like it ends with a quote from, as you told me, like one of like a spoken word album or something that like Avery Brooks wrote, where it's like he says something from that, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense in the context of the television show. That it's divine laws are simpler than human ones, which is why it takes a lifetime to be able to understand them. Only love can understand them. Only love can interpret those words as they are meant to be interpreted. And I'm just like, well, that probably made more sense in the poem that he wrote. Like it's like he just kind of like says that at the end of the thing, and I'm just like, okay, man, I don't know. Like I was just sort of like, I love that you want to honor, you know, Avery Brooks and like who rocks. Like, to be clear, I love Avery Brooks.
Yeah.
And he's from, I think, the one of the Star Trek shows that gets the least amount of like respect and attention from the new stuff. But like I was just like, this is just kind of like nothing. Like it's just sort of like you have kind of like one opportunity to do this kind of thing, and like it's just like it's so kind of like confused and unfocused and not super interesting. And then like, and it's like you Cedric Lofton comes back, you know, and he kind of like has a scene where he's, and you liked him a lot more than I did in this one, but I'm just sort of like, again, it's like,
I just thought his like his presence was just so, I don't know, he was just so like tender and warm and like, I don't know, I thought he was like, I was just like, oh wow, like Jake was never my favorite, but I thought just like he brought like, I just really I was like, I just want to like sit and listen to you talk to me all day for some reason when he was in this one.
Yeah, I think I was like I wasn't like opposed to it or anything. But I was just sort of like, well, what, like what am I to like because it's like he is his thing in the show is that it's like he's a book, like he's like he's not actually there, right? Like it's like he's just kind of like it's like I read a book and it was like he came and spoke to me in the book, and I'm like, I don't understand like anything that's going on, like, you know, I was just like, I don't really like what am I meant to, like, what sort of like catharsis is that? Like it just felt like very kind of like, I don't know, I was very kind of like, this kind of just all over the map is how I felt about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Then the next episode, this episode, I think, honestly, the episode is okay as a show, because I was sort of like, around this time I was like, well, we're not really doing anything, we're not really doing any like Star Trek stuff, really, like not very much, you know, like, and so I was like, oh well, they have like a little job to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's kind of interesting that they have a job to do that goes like so bad that like one of the kind of antagonisty kind of characters dies in it.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like they have to go get this stuff off a ship, and then like Giamatti is there.
Yeah, and then they get attacked by monsters, and Paul Giamatti is like behind it all and uses it to like further his plot. Yeah.
Yep. And so it's like, that's, you know, that's like, but then like, and
then it's also like the first time that Terima uses her like black bolt powers.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, so like that's all fine, but then I was like, the thing, like I don't like mind that episode, and it's like, you know, it's like, and I think that Paul Giamatti, again, another person who I think is not quite defeated by the dialogue in the show, but I would say like is kind of given,
it doesn't feel right for him.
He's given kind of some rough stuff to say, in my opinion, you know.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like but I was happy to see him back and stuff, I guess. But then the problem I think with this really is that like then the rest of the show is about how like everybody has all of this, everybody that can't get back to normal after this, and it's like, well, okay, I understand why this would be the case, but I would say two things. One, and honestly, my guess is most of the people who are watching the show, like, have seen all of the Star Trek shows before this that you've been doing, and so it's like you just do this every time. Like this is
the plot of 5 seasons of Discovery.
Every show is the same plot of like, well, I meant something really bad happened, and we can't get over it. But also, it's sort of like it like totally. Even if that wasn't the case, it just like totally tanks like the energy of the show, where it's like the energy of the show should be about how like we're doing like shenanigans at school, you know? And
yes, and then kind of eventually building up to like, and now at the very end, like we have to like face something serious.
Yeah, and it's like the final thing they have to face like doesn't really feel like as serious, honestly, as like the thing that happens in the middle of the show, because like people die in the middle of the show, you know, like it's
like in front of them,
so kind of a tough I think tone setter.
I think the energy was like they went like too hard, like too serious for the point in the show that they were at there.
Then there's the episode where I actually kind of liked this episode. All right, the episode where Darren, like you find out that he is getting married, and I think this episode it's like, so Darren's getting married and he gets like kidnapped because that's like traditional, and then
and Jaden thinks he's
like,
being actually kidnapped, so like chases him.
So Jaden has to be like his best man, and he's like, I don't want to, because it's kind of been established that Jaden is like bad at public speaking, and then he, you know, but it's like this episode, that stuff is like reasonably all right, and it kind of it ends with like Jaden's like betrothed being like, well, actually, I don't want to. I don't want to get married to you anymore because like you used to be like totally like a beta cuck, and I liked that about you. It's sort of and it's like now,
and it turns out that
like
you're
your
actually...
best man gave a speech where he was like, oh, he's kind of an asshole. Like but like I love that about him, and she's like, well, man, I want you to go be the asshole you always were meant to be, or something. And it's a kind of
it's a weird. That's another one where it's just like, I feel like the ending. It was just like that's what you went with to resolve all of this. Like, I don't know.
But then
I don't know that you fully stuck the landing there.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah. Like, and then Caleb
and then that's also the one
Genesis, where like they're both on. They both like stay back at spring break, which is like reasonably fun
and have shenanigans and
I mean like that episode's all right. Is this also the episode which I mean maybe we skipped over this episode, the episode where like they have to do some diplomatic stuff with like
I forget which one that is, because that's like sort of it's one of the earlier ones, but it's just kind of like also happening. Like the kids are doing one thing, and then they keep cutting to this like dinner party with the Doctor and Jett Reno and Holly Hunter and the like War College guy.
Yeah, which I would say that was a tough thing, because to the degree that I was enjoying the show, I was like, oh no, because like there's a couple of scenes in that episode where this is happening, where you're having them there, and I was like, oh no, I like these scenes so much more than like
whatever.
It really like threw into relief like how much more appealing and interesting the like adult characters are on the show. In a way that I think.
I mean, do you think that's I guess the question is like, because I've wondered this. This is something I've recently noticed with like some shows, of just like I feel like there is something to be said for like people who have been acting a long time are just really good at acting. And like there are shows that kind of very much like cast that into relief. And like, is it just the like sort of actors and performances thing that you have like Tig Notaro and Holly Hunter and Robert Picardo all here, or is it just that like, or is it that the characters are more interesting?
Well, I think. Sure, I mean you're probably right. I think though that like
because I remember thinking, what I forget what the other there was another show I was watching that like, I mean like you can even say that with like some of like the other right like Strange New Worlds is just you're just like oh like Anson Mount is really good and like even like Carol Kane just kind of steals the show whenever she's on it to the point that like it's not that these other people are bad but like they. I think, but it was
I like what's her name though. That's the other thing too is I think I looked up some of these people and was like surprised at how old they are because, again, every person on that show is just like super hot and appears to have.
Yeah, I mean, like Rebecca Romaine is I think 50, but like.
No, but I'm not. That's not how I'm talking about it. But yes, of course, like
you're Christina Chong.
Yes, yeah. Where I was like, she's like 40.
Yeah, I think she's like 40, right? Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not that 40 is not old at all, obviously, but like. I thought she was younger because she is just sort of like a remarkably, like, well-preserved person, you know?
Yeah, she looks great. But yeah, even like, I think the one that I thought it was with, I don't think you've seen, I think you stopped watching Star Wars before Andor.
Yes.
But, and it's like, it's not that anyone on that show is bad, but then Stellan Skarsgård, whenever he's on it, you're just like, oh, wow. Right. You are an actor.
Yeah.
Like,
well, he's just one of the best. I mean, like that's not even really fair. You know, it's like he's so good. Like, Christina Chong is 42.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that's part of it. But yeah, it's like I don't know. I like. Yeah, you are right though. I am looking at Strange New Worlds and it's like I like Anson Mount. I like Christina Chong. I like Babs Aluson Makun. I like Rebecca Romaine, and I like Carol Kane, and then it's like
or even like the engineer from the first season. Like I assume,
he's great.
What that guy's name is, but like he was so good, But I think he's like, presumably like an older guy. I don't know.
Yeah, and then it's like Jess Bush is. I mean, whatever. None of those people are young. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, Jess Bush is 33.
And again, like none of them are bad actors.
26. I mean, but yeah, it's like I mean, that's a good cast. Honestly, I like.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's crazy. Like Melissa Navia is 41. They really did get like a cast
like
of
the
like
most attractive 40-year-olds that you could find.
Like All right, Martin Quinn is he's 32. Yeah. I mean that made me feel old just because I was like, oh, he started in 1994, so he's 32. Yeah,
he's 32. Is he the new Scotty?
That's Scotty. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
But anyway. Yeah, but that just kind of threw it into relief a little bit for me. But I think maybe like it's worth talking about. Well, I don't know. We have like three more. There's a couple little things I want to talk about before, like from a kind of a holistic perspective, and then obviously anything you want to cover as well.
So then the next one is the R-Town episode.
This episode can get out of here. Like this I was so mad. I think this is one reason why I'm maybe having like a reaction against the show is because I was kind of keeping up with it, and then I went on vacation and it was busy, and so then I was 3 episodes behind, and I had to watch all 3 of them basically like in an evening. And this is the first one of them I had to watch, and I was like, "Oh, great! It's my one of my least favorite characters from." Okay, this episode. What do you think of this episode? I found this episode so annoying. Like,
yeah, I don't know that I just found it like uninteresting. I think more than anything else, it was just like, okay, the kids are like, I think there's potentially something funny to. I think I said right before we started recording that like. To be fair, like discovering our town when you're 17 and thinking that now you're like super deep and profound and like is a very genuine experience. But it was more of like an eye roll to me than like an actively like annoying one.
Well, I think there's like 2 different like problems with this episode. One, because basically it's like, all right, well, all the kids have trauma, and so they're gonna have Tilly come out and be like a guest instructor to like show them how to like be a team. And to me,
sure.
I mean, like, I'll get back to that, but like there's some problems with that right away. But then the other thing that's happening is that Sam is malfunctioning, and so they have to take Sam back to her home world and like repair her. And then it turns out, like, I think in one of the bigger kind of like narrative swings of the show, it turns out that basically they're like, well, the reason she's weird and she's not like grounded very well is because she didn't have a childhood, and so she couldn't like process stuff properly. And so like what will happen, because this is sort of a time dilated like planet that we're on, is that like because basically the doctor will stay there for is like 2 weeks basically in like normal human time, but in the context of the thing it'll be like 17 years, and they'll like basically reboot Sam, and then he'll be her parent, and he'll parent her and raise her for 17
This is another
years.
one for me where it was just like, it just like, you can see that they were like going for a thing and an emotion on that, but like just the actual like plot that they came up with like makes no sense if you think about it.
Well, it's like it's
like,
so
first
rushed.
of all, the
It's
whole like, because that's the one that where they're like, yes, the reason the doctor was like afraid to sort of mentor her before is because he doesn't want to lose anybody again because of the time that he had, like because of the one episode of Voyager where he made himself like a daughter and she died.
And it's like, guys, if you are like basing like your character's like deep emotional issue on an episode of television that I forgot about, like, like that's not good. Like it's like it's like when I feel like when you see him be like, I had a family, and you're supposed to be like, oh, this is like, I was like, oh yeah, I guess he had a family. Like that was like me. Like it's it's like, and it's like he never is like, yeah, all the Voyager people died, and it's like, yeah, I would buy that, like that's
right.
Yeah, like,
it's right there.
Saying, yeah, it's right there.
Well, because they even like at some earlier point in the show, they even like they make like a little mention of like Prodigy, and he like that makes him get all like kind of far away and distant. And I was like, oh, are they gonna like? I think they even like specifically mention Gwen, and he's like, I don't want to talk about Gwen. And like you could even do something with like that, and instead, nope, it's the kid from like the sitcom. Yeah. And then,
but
they basically are like, then they're like, okay, the solution is to speed run the Doctor's whole arc from all of Voyager for this character in 10 minutes. Because that's right. Because that's basically like what Voyager
technically it's
is about.
years,
is like
but
the Doctor has to like learn how to become a human by like having life experiences and that kind of thing. And they're just like, we'll just do all of that off camera.
But then, sure, yes, but it's like that should have been. It's the same thing with like some of these other episodes where it's like that should be what the episode's about. Like that's like they
spend
go
the full
there,
episode being like, and now we watch Sam grow up.
Or just like we come, like there's more problems where it's like that feels like an afterthought. It's like they're spending more time talking about our town than they are in this. And it's like, this is interesting. You're going to a planet of like all holograms. You barely see any of the planet. Then they're like, she's broken. We have to throw her in the garbage. And like, oh wait, well, what if we did the speed run thing? And they're like, okay, great. And like, that's like it. And it's like,
and then she comes back at the end and she's like, I'm better now.
Yeah. And it's like, you should like, this isn't, again, it's the Enterprise problem where it's like, this is an interesting idea. What will you do with it? Well, nothing. We'll just kind of be like, here's an idea we had, like, and then like pretty cool,
and
huh?
Say it happened.
Like, also, it bothers. It's a small thing. It bothers me that they're like, well, she never had a childhood, and so she can't process this stuff. And it's like, well, the Doctor didn't have a childhood. Like, it's like and now obviously there is that one episode we just watched recently where he does kind of
again, like I think that's kind of
because of this
his
issue.
arc in Voyager is like he has to sort of like figure out these things in real time and like have these life experiences.
But they're but like for them to be like, well, there's no other solution to this problem. She has to have a childhood. And I was like, well, there has to be some other solution to this problem because he didn't have a childhood, And so, like,
my other thing with that is that like, I don't think like they
childhood is
that
not
either, because her childhood is, as far as we see, is just like her and the Doctor. Like, so you like. I don't think that like spending 17 years with like just you and your parent in like an empty world with no other people is a childhood either. Like that doesn't give you life experiences.
Well, maybe there's a holodeck in there, and so like there's a computer make a bully or something. You know, like I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, it's one of those that like just doesn't hold up at all. Like they just like it. Yeah, I think you really hit it. But like they had an idea and then just weren't able to like write a story about it.
And then, so then that's going on. And then the thing that takes up more of the episode about the hologram planet is that Tilly is like, all right, I'm here. Like, you guys all have trauma. Like, I'm going to make you address it by, like, being kind of mean to you while we, like, read Our Town. And it's like, okay, first of all, this is following up, like, the show makes multiple references to the fact that Tilly is really, really good at this, which, again, is basically a callback to one of my least favorite episodes of Star Trek, which is where Tilly leads a disastrous training mission for cadets where one of them dies. And then everyone was like, well, Tilly, this is really good for your personal growth. Like, so it's like, what is the evidence that she is good at this job? It's like the evidence is that, like, one time she, like, killed another Starfleet student. Like, it's stupid. And then... and then she basically is like, no, you have to understand, like, the Our Town is, like, important. And it's like, I do think that, like, art is important and theater is important and stuff, but it's like, there's a bunch of scenes where, like, someone's like, I don't want to, like, this is stupid. Like, I don't want to, like, process my feelings through theater. And she's like, you have to. And it's like, why does she have to? Like, why don't they, like, have a therapist? Like it's dumb that they're making them do this. They're like, well, I'll fail you if you don't, like, read Our Town good enough. And it's like, that's dumb.
Like, something about it. Yeah,
it's really, really dumb. Like, and I don't like Mary Wise. I don't like that character anyway. I don't know. I don't like Mary Wise. I've only ever seen her be this character who I find to be extremely unpleasant. I was just very, and then it's basically, it ends with, like, Tarima being like, I don't know, I don't feel good still. And then she's like, it's okay to not feel good. And
everyone's like, it's okay to not feel good. Yeah.
It's like, I know it's not okay to not feel good because A, I'm an adult man, and B, every episode of new Star Trek is about it's okay not to feel good. Like, that's what they're all about. Like,
sure.
Call. So not a good episode. I was very, very annoyed by it.
Yeah. And then, like, the last two were kind of like a combined, like a sort of like long, like sort of essentially a two-parter,
they go find,
which is
they
basically
find his
like,
mom.
Yeah. They find his mom, and like and then like, so they go down to a planet to try to like join up with her, and then they all get captured by, or no, I guess just she gets captured, her and the captain get captured by Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, and then
like,
Paul Giamatti thinks that he's killed the rest of them, but there was actually like a hologram.
And they were like hiding on the ship.
Yeah.
So you have like, so he's like, and then he's also like, he's used this weapon to like make like a ring of mines all around the Federation so that the Federation can't come help them, and he's going to use them to like destroy the Federation. And
because
he's like,
the weapons are powerful enough to like basically destroy subspace. So like it would basically destroy
nukes.
Warp ability forever.
Yeah. And he's like, we'll destroy the Federation, and then like it'll go back, like I'll be in power, and it'll be kind of this like frontier, and like the most powerful will have all the power or whatever. And so he's like, but I'm gonna, in order to like get everyone else in the galaxy to support me, I'm gonna have this like show trial where I like put Holly Hunter on trial and like prove that the Federation's bad, and like use Caleb's mom as part of it because she also hates the Federation.
Yeah,
and then
some of this I thought was good, I will say. Like, I think,
and like the stuff, and then like basically like all of the kids and Tig Notaro are on the ship, and they're like, they have to figure out how to, like, essentially how to like both like find him, like, well, so first they have to hide from like the ships that are trying to destroy him, and then they're like, we have to find him because he's got the transmitter to set off the mines, and like if we can access that, then we can like send a feedback signal and disable the mines and save the day, and then the Federation can come. Mm-hmm. And so like they're figuring all this stuff out like on the ship, and like Tig Notaro's sort of like kind of leading all of them and teaching them stuff and all that. And then essentially like Caleb ends up like beaming down to where like Paul Giamatti is like holding like his mom and Holly Hunter on trial, and he's like, I like the Federation and like I like Starfleet Academy and it's a good thing. And Holly Hunter's like, I'm so proud of you. And then they also like do this weird kind of like gotcha moment where they're like, actually the Federation didn't destroy your planet because like that mineral burns red.
Yeah, which is sort of like, well, couldn't they have gotten like red lasers? Like they could
right.
Use,
and then like and this is the part like there were a couple things with this ending, and like that's like, first of all, I don't understand his mom's arc at all, because she's like, I hate the Federation, they like imprisoned me and took my son from me, and then he kind of comes down and he's like, but I do like Starfleet Academy, and she's like, great, so do I. And like that's kind of the mom's whole arc. There's just like, I don't really understand like why she was part of this,
Maslany is a good actor. I did really like the scene where like there's where basically like Ake has to like kind of say like, yeah, like I feel really bad about what happened, but like I did it for this reason and stuff, like, and then she's like, I don't care, like you're guilty. Like I was like, oh, that's like cool. Like that's I like that.
Yeah, like, but then like they did that, and then there's no reason for her to like change her mind afterwards. But then at the end, she's just like, they're hanging out at Starfleet Academy with her son, being like, I'm so happy you're here. I don't know.
Well, she says she hopes he doesn't want to come back. So like I think she still is kind of like a little iffy on it, but.
But then just like it very much struck me as the like that kind of liberal fantasy of just the like, if you can just stand up and say like the bad man is lying and like here is the proof, and then everybody watching will be like, well, in the face of that evidence, like I have no choice but to stop listening to what he says, even though our interests align, and like that's why I was following, right? Like, because like she says like actually strontium burns red, and then everybody who's watching is just like, oh well, in that case he must be a liar. Like we definitely won't
Zoom call basically.
Yeah, we definitely won't follow like the guy with a million space nukes anymore. Yeah, because he lied. I don't know. And I think that it also, like, the other thing that really struck me with that, with kind of, like, the whole, like, face-off at the end, and, like, is sort of a thing that they kind of, like, go right up to, but then never, like, address or grapple with, is, like, just the whole, like, the Federation is the sort of, like, ones with the prosperity and that, and, like, these are all the people that are, like, on the outskirts that don't have anything. Because, like, literally, like Caleb, I forget what exactly his line is, but when Caleb's like talking about like Starfleet Academy's good actually and the Federation's good, and he's like, I've like in the last 3 months I've laughed more than I had laughed in my whole life before that, or like I've been happy. Yeah. And it's supposed to be like because you like have friends and belong to something and are part of something bigger than yourself. And I'm just sitting there being like, it might be because you had food though.
Yeah. Right.
Like. Right, because like him especially, right? Like he's going from being this sort of like orphan, like struggling to survive, like on the run, in poverty, to like in this like super, and especially like because they set this in, right? Like they're doing the trial in like the school, but it's all like it's been vandalized and the lights are off and there's fire and stuff, and it's just such a like, right? Like the Federation, like you have this like. The Federation are the ones with like the big shiny ships and fancy clothes and replicators that provide infinite food and all of that. Mm-hmm. And they're like, actually, like we're great and everything's fine. And like the people that are still like kind of struggling are like, it's not fine for us. And I don't know, they never really like, but then they're just like, but because Paul Giamatti's bad, like it's good. Like, yeah, that's the end. I don't know. It's something I wish they kind of like grappled with a little bit more that they don't ever really address. Yeah. But I don't know.
Well, there's two other like little things I wanted to discuss. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to like touch on. I think we've
I think that was kind of it. Yeah, we're running long.
So well, as usual, this is we're recording this like the day before it goes up, so like it'll be kind of a more kind of jazzier, kind of not super tightly edited thing when people get it, which is
Yeah.
fine. But okay, so one thing I will think one thing about this show, which I think I don't know how much we said it, but it's like I would put this like pretty solidly in the middle of the new Star Trek shows. So I would probably say
yes, I definitely agree.
Lower Decks, Strange New Worlds, and then this, and then Prodigy discovering Picard, I guess. I don't know, like
Yeah,
something like that. Like and like I think two things I think that kind of put it in that zone is one is that like I don't like love Caleb, and this is the thing that I always kind of knew was going to be the case, and I'm less interested in him at the end of the show. But it's like I like that he doesn't like school, and I think that like
right.
that's like an important like
especially kind of like at the start. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of his thing. It's just like everyone is like super like school spirit and like.
And he's like, and he's like,
the best.
school's dumb, and I'm like, I like that about him, and I was like, I know that he's not going to be able to keep that energy, but I hope that he always has a little bit of that kind of like anti-school spirit energy, and
Yeah.
but it's like it's a thing where it's like I did kind of want the show to be a little bit more spiky, you know, like where it's like there's the war college, and it's like I understand why they felt like they had to have a war college at this time period with like post-burn and stuff, but I would love for like the show to kind of end with like. There doesn't need to be a war college, and maybe like the war college, maybe the war college guy, maybe he becomes like a little evil because he's like, no, I have to. War is important or whatever. Like, I would kind of like to see like a little bit more. I would like them to kind of be a little bit more Slytherin-y, you know, because that is like obviously like kind of the vibe they're going for. But it's like, screw J.K. Rowling, obviously. But it's like I think that like. That's like one of the fun things about Harry Potter is that like there's one of like the four groups of kids, and they're just like they're all the bad kids, you know, like
right. Yes,
and it's
we
like
categorize our children.
Yeah, it's sort of like the four,
brave, nice, smart, and evil.
Yeah, right. And so it's like I would have liked to see a little bit more of that, I think. But then the other thing I would say is that like I think. That one reason that like some of the stuff that's a little kind of cringy in this show, I think one of the reasons it goes down a little bit better than it does in some of the other shows is because these characters are so young, and so you are sort of like, well, they're kind of stupid, like you know, and I don't even mean that in a bad way. It's like I was also stupid when I was that age,
right?
For sure.
Yeah, they're doing,
you know, and so it's like a lot of like the stuff they say or the things they do. I'm sort of like, well, whatever. Everybody thinks that like when they're that age that like they're you know what's going on with them is the most important thing going on in the universe, and
sure,
and also like you just say a lot of dumb things that are kind of annoying, and so it's sort of like it's more forgivable. But I think the flip side of that is something that I think we often were discussing, which is like, is this a show for young people? Like,
yeah, it is kind of. I think it is one of those where it's just like I don't fully know who this is for, and I don't know that they know or like stick to something consistently the whole time.
Oh, I think they know. I think they think that it's a show
it's not,
for.
right?
I think it's a show that they think is for young people, but
like.
But again, it is like this "how do you do, fellow kids" thing,
right?
You know?
Yeah,
it's like because it's like the writing staff for this it's the same people who have been working on the shows for the last 10 years. You know, like largely, it's like the finale was written by like Alex Kurtzman.
I think I think that's the thing is like it feels more like it's a show for people who have watched Discovery. Which,
but it's like they're having the young people say young people stuff, but it's not really young people stuff. It's like it's stuff that like older people, like people my age and older,
right? Which is always a problem
that young people
like
say, you know,
writing
like,
a show about
But it's like you look at like who like wrote the show, and it's like, you know, not all these people have Memory Alpha, so I'm sure they probably have some new writers, but it's like, Jane Maggs wrote a few episodes, and like Jane Maggs is like from Picard, and Kristen Beyer wrote a couple of shows, and she's like written for like all the different shows, and Tawny Newsome wrote one of the shows, and she obviously is mostly famous for in Star Trek lore from
like very involved in Lower Decks.
But then but also
but even some of these other names like Gaia Violo, Alex Top, I feel like I've seen those names before.
Kenneth Lynn, let's see, is as a Discovery guy. So it's like these are all the same people. A lot of these are the same people who are kind of doing like all the sort of like millennial cringe stuff that is on Discovery, where you're just like where it's just like you are kind of like you're like this is how young people talk, and I'm like I don't really know that it is. It's like it feels like it does feel like kind of older people like kind of trying to be like hip. It's like it's a thing that I will always kind of defend like the new Avatar movies for is I've seen a lot of people be like, I hate the way the kids talk in those movies. And one of the things is that the kids are always like running around being like, bro, this is like crazy, bro. And it's like, hate to say it, guys, I'm around young kids quite a bit. Like I have two kids that are like, around the age of like some of the kids in Avatar, and it's like they do talk like that. Like it's I honestly think it's like very like accurate dialogue by which I mean to say that it is not like super verbose or clever or whatever. It's like the most recent Avatar movie ends with like a character kind of like going and having a communal experience with like the collective memory of like the Avatar planet for the first time, and someone's like, you're one of us now, and he's like, huh, no shit, and it's like that's the last line of dialogue in the movie. And it's like it's so crazy, but it's like they do be talking like that though, like it's right. The
yo chat you see in this,
I mean like it's I don't know, I found it that part of it kind of clanged a bit for me as like pretty inauthentic, and like I said, it's I've said it multiple times in this episode, but like that old Steve Buscemi 30 Rock meme of like how you do fellow kids, right? It really is like an evergreen, like older people trying to act young, and so I don't know, but it wasn't like horrible or anything.
I think we kind of always. I feel like that was something I expected that to be even worse than it was. I think of just the like when they announced like, oh, we're making a Starfleet Academy show, it's just like, oh, this could be very how do you do fellow kids.
Well, see,
and it's like
my honestly my feeling of it was like I was like, oh, that could be interesting. I don't have a lot of faith in like the people who are shepherding Trek right now. But I remember watching the trailer, and that was when I was like, I don't know about this one. Like, and I honestly, it's probably better than the trailer, because I think the trailer was like pure kind of like Discovery hope punk style, like, again, like very Tree of Life, like stuff, and I think it was better than that. But I think ultimately, like, my biggest complaint, honestly, is that like, I was listening to an episode of Blank Check recently, and Griffin was talking about how, like, one of the reasons that, like, a lot of modern TV is bad is that you kind of, like, need... He's kind of like, you need, like, the old 22-episode format to kind of, like, shake the dust out of your system, because he was like, you need the 22 episodes, and then, when you make 22 episodes, there's probably going to be, like, 6 of them that aren't very good. And he's like, but the problem is that oftentimes now you have 10 episodes... and still 6 of them aren't very good, Like,
and that's more than half of your show.
Yeah,
I was listening to something. I think they were talking about Strange New Worlds in that, where it's just like, like old, right? Like it used to be that like they were like, okay, you get like 60, right? You get like 3 seasons to sort of like figure this out. Yeah, and all those seasons are 20 episodes, right? Like,
I mean, like the first season of Star Trek is 30 episodes. Which is crazy.
But like, imagine if like TNG right? Like, if they only had 30 episodes of TNG,
Yeah,
like, the first 30 episodes of TNG are all bad.
Yeah, I mean, it takes probably like 20 episodes for them to make a good episode of TNG. Like,
right?
And
I don't know. When is When's Conspiracy? That's pretty early, I think. But other than that,
Conspiracy, I think, is like episode 19 or something.
Is it really?
Yeah,
I thought
I'm
it was
looking
really
it up
bad.
right
Okay.
now. Because it's like the big goodbyes before that, but I don't think that's like a great episode or anything.
Okay.
I'd say, to me, Conspiracy, which is episode 25 of TNG,
Is it really? Oh, I thought
is like the first real heater episode that they do. It's like,
yeah, but like, right, like, this show might not have 25 episodes for the whole show.
right, yeah. But
And yeah, they were like, yeah, you'll figure it out eventually.
yeah, it's like they have like a main cast member dies on TNG before they have like a really good episode.
Wow.
But yeah, it's I don't know. I think that, like, yeah, that was maybe my biggest problem with it. It was just like it felt very flat to me. Where it's like, again, it's like, another complaint. I remember like one of the episodes I got kind of mad and I texted you and I was like, can they like go to space? Because it's like there was just like an episode
Sure.
where there was just like a man playing an acoustic guitar while like Caleb was like leaving a voicemail on that lady's phone, and I was just like, what is this? Like, and it's like that. I think that was. I was like, I want to like remember something about these. Again, it felt very Enterprise, where I'm just sort of like every episode, Enterprise episode ends, and I'm like, yeah, I guess they just kind of did some stuff. Like, and again, even in Discovery, like a show I don't like, and I think the lows of Discovery are pretty bad. It's like that episode we watched that that you'll hear in like a couple months, listener. Like,
Yeah.
I was sort of like, I don't think that they do a science fiction thing in a single episode of this season that is as interesting as that episode of Discovery.
It's like what they try to do in
that episode of Discovery, which is like not a great episode or anything. It's fine. It's certainly not one of the worst ones we've watched. But like, I was like,
sure.
Oh, they're wearing spacesuits, and then they like, I was just like, they go to a planet and they're on the planet for like most of the episode, and then like different problems happen to them, and then they have to be like, oh, it must be because of this, and so we'll come up with like a solution. And it's like in Academy, they're just sort of like, okay, well, we'll set up like a premise, and then they'll have like a bunch of stuff in the middle that is mostly emotional stuff, and then at the very end we'll be like, okay, we solved the problem. Like, and it's like, you're not going to make very many memorable episodes if that's the way that you're, the way that you're structuring your stuff. But anyway,
Yeah.
anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah. No, I think we should probably keep moving.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. We come out normally every other week, so this is going to come out on an off week, but still we'll be back next week with something. I don't remember. You can follow us on YouTube at Out of Contreks. You can follow us on Blue Sky at Contreks. You can email us at outofcontreks@gmail.com, or you can visit our website at outofcontreks.podbean.com. You can also check out the other shows the show on the Kaleidoscope Media Podcast Network, which is Here's Johnny. It's a horror media podcast, so check those folks out. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
All right.